first day of proper classes yesterday. I know we had the first day, but we did not do any concepts yesterday. So we're going to discuss first day of classes. Ensure that you guys don't join the video. That's one instruction I would like to give, because everyone can see you. When you can see yourself on the screen, that means everyone is also seeing you at that point on all their screens. So ensure that you don't join the video. Uh, we will have a session where we will all join the video and we'll talk to each other probably at the end of the classes, but not now. Okay, now don't join the video by mistake. It could be possible that you could join the video. We are not it doesn't have a the application doesn't have a default setting where we can disable it. So by mistake sometimes you join unintentionally, so ensure that doesn't happen, because most of the times I've noticed it is by mistake. So so please ensure that that doesn't happen with you. Anyway, so we will start the session today. Yes. Good morning. So we will start the session. Good morning, Tanuja. Good morning. We will start the session today. Today I'm going to just deal with some basics. We're going to start with this first chapter, Unit 1, and in that it is filled with theory. Okay, this particular chapter is fully theory. We have 7 units. I gave you the index also yesterday, which I'm going to discuss in the class, and all of it is complete theoretical. There is no problem solving as such. There's one unit where we have to solve some questions, but it's not problem. This is categorizing. Other than that, I'm going to talk, you're going to listen. But remember, this unit could be theoretical. It won't be boring for sure, because it is practical. It has its practical implications. So with practical examples and all, it won't be boring. But don't ignore this chapter just because you studied this in first PUC. I'm telling you, I'm not going to teach you that way. Number one. Number two, you're not going to be supposed to learn that way. So you're not supposed to learn that way. So don't be with the mindset that we've studied this already. What is this? This is just theory. I can just read it once. Don't have that mindset. And especially, I would suggest, because it's the first day of the class, I will just tell you, there are some of us who are, say, not some of us, most of us are like this. We scored great marks in PUC. We've scored 90 plus, 80 plus to 90 plus in PUC. In accounts also, we scored really good marks. We scored 80 plus, 90 plus. Some of us have scored 100 also in accounts. So that doesn't mean that you can take this for granted. This is a different level. Okay, I'm setting it out clear. And the ones who scored a little lesser marks also, don't be lazy. This is the time to make that transition. The ones who have not been so studious so far and want to make it big in life. There are many of us like that. I was one of them. I mean, I scored decent marks, but still, I used to not study so much. I used to study last moment for my PU exams and all that. So suddenly, when I came to see, I had to make the change. I made that change. I was open to change. So please, I would suggest you guys also to be a little more open to change. Study every day, read every day. Don't run away from studies. If you're running away from studies, trust me, this is not the course. Okay, this is not the course that you should be choosing if you're a person who runs away from studies. This is a course where you should like. I mean, at some point you'll start liking reading. We like reading because we read so much. We like reading. We like a book. That's purely because we've done so much studies in our life and we're used to this. So honestly, I would say this is a course which requires a lot of reading and studying and patience and efforts and hard work and determination, everything. But first thing is interest, enthusiasm. So ensure that you are enthusiastic and you keep those spirits running for a long time. Yes. Shall we start then? Yes, we will start. This is chapter number 1, theoretical framework. Just put this in your notes. Chapter 1, theoretical framework. under chapter 1, unit 1 is what we're going to discuss today. Meaning and scope of accounting. Meaning and scope of accounting. Chapter 1, theoretical framework. Under that, unit 1, meaning and scope of accounting. Now we shall begin. I want you to write all this in your notebook. I hope you have taken a notebook and you're on your study table, not on your bed or not on your sofa or not on your couch or somewhere. I hope you are on your study table and listening to me. And yes, maintain a notebook, write it neatly, just like how you do normally. Okay, so do you recognize this man? Anyone can tell me who this fellow is? Have you seen him before? Or are you seeing him for the first time? Who is he? Any idea? No idea. Okay. Very good, Nicholas. He is someone called as not Galileo. He is Luca Pacioli. Okay. He is Luca Pacioli. He is known as the father of accounting. He is known as the you don't have to write this. I'm just saying this is for knowledge. Before we start accounts, I just wanted to tell about him. Now, this is the person who is the kind of what do you say, the discovery man or the innovator of accounting. He's known as the father of accountancy. Whatever we're going to study as accounting, the basics of it was introduced by him. He's accounting was always there. He was not someone who introduced accounting. He was not someone who discovered how to account and all that. Accounting was always there. Traditionally, people came up with their own practices of accounting. Account means what? Account means, as the term says, it's counting. So counting all your incomes and expenses used to traditionally be known as accounting. But this person gave it a little more framework. He put it in a framework. He gave rules. He said this is debit, this is called as credit, this is how you pass a journal entry, this is how you post ledgers. So he kind of streamlined the whole discussion into bits and parts. I mean, which was in bits and parts. He streamlined the discussion and made it a proper subject. So that is why we call him as a father of accountancy. He's an economist, actually. He's an economist. He wrote a book called the Summa. So under the Summa, the sum basically, he mentioned about accounting and different things relating to accounting. So that is about him. Now we will go to the accounting process. Put the heading accounting process. What do you mean by accounting process? See, to understand accounts, you need to know the process. Like, for example, if you want to understand how some particular goods are made, let us say, you can see this mobile phone, right? To make this mobile phone, what goes into making this mobile phone could be a question. Now, the manufacturing process of this mobile phone, you will have to analyze to understand how this mobile phone works. This is the end product. This is the end product. But it did not fall from sky, right? The mobile phone did not fall from sky. It was created. There was a process which it underwent. And what is that process? If you have to understand, you will go into the raw materials used to make this mobile phone, the processes that were done. For example, the screen, the camera, the fingerprint technology which is there inside this, the Face ID technology which is there in this, the the sound, the speakers, the microphone. So you will have to put all this together, and then finally you have the mobile phone. So in accounting also, there is a process we follow. There are some steps we follow to get the end product. Can someone tell me what is the end product in accounting? Like, for example, manufacturing process of a mobile phone, the end product is mobile phone. In the case of accounting process, you guys have studied accounts, right, for 2 years. What is the end product of accounting? Why do we do accounting? For what sake? What do we end with? There must be some end product. Very good, Ibrahim. And also, okay, many of you. Shashank gave me a little more accurate answer. It's basically for uh, ending up with the end product in accounting is very simple. It is the financial information about the entity, about any organization. Now, I will tell you one simple thing. Like, there is Neha. Okay, Neha Salian is in our class. Now, I want to talk to Neha. Neha, how many languages do you know? Could you tell me how many languages do you know? Uh, can you can communicate in? How many languages can you communicate in? Or okay, Neha can communicate in 4 languages. Neha says, what are the 4 languages? Let me guess. It is Kannada, probably Tulu, English, and Hindi. Yes, 4 languages. I've guessed. These are the 4 languages you can talk in. I can also speak in those 4 languages. In addition to that, I can also talk in Konkani, which is my mother tongue. So I can speak in 5 languages. Okay. Now, if I want to ask Neha, if I want to know how Neha is, how is she doing? So if I want to ask Neha, I can go and ask her in any of these languages. I can ask, how are you, Neha, in English? Neha, hey Gidya in Kannada. Neha, incha ulla in Tulu. Neha, kaisi ho in Hindi. If she knows Konkani, I would have asked in Konkani also, but she doesn't know Konkani. So 4 common languages we have, I can communicate with her in any of these languages. Now let us say I give some money to Neha. Neha has borrowed some money from me. I've given some money to Neha. If I want to know what has happened to my money, when is she returning the money, what has she used it for, what has she bought it, what has she bought from that money? If I want to ask Neha, I can ask her with any of these in any of these languages. I can just dial up a number, and I can just talk to her and say and ask her what has she done with my money. So this is how I can communicate to her in any of the languages and know what has happened with my money or what is she doing with my money. I can get an idea. But now with the business, if I want to communicate, see, for a business also I might give money. Instead of giving money to Neha, I have put some money into a business. One angadi open madidana. One shop open madidana. I have opened a shop. I put my money to that business. And various purchases, expenses, assets have been bought by that business. Now, if I want to know what the business has done with my money, ಹಣ ನಂದು business ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ, can I go to the name board of the business, the shop? ಒಂದು ಅಂಗಡಿದ ಹೆಸರು ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. Can I knock it and say, hey, where is my money? Can I talk to it like this? The answer is no. Are you going to get an answer? No. You will be probably be taken to some mental hospital if you do this. So it's not possible to do this, right? But I want to know what has happened to my money. There must be some level of communication or some level of uh, information I need to get about my money which I invested in the business. So that is why to communicate with the business, we use the most and the only one language we have to communicate with the business. And what is that language known as? Accounting. That language is known as accountancy or accounting. So through this language, we communicate with the business. This is, I can't talk to the business in any of the languages, just like how I told you I would communicate with Neha. Here I have to always communicate with the business in the language of accountancy. That is why you might have heard this is also known as language of business. Language of business. Sir, is there any other language you can talk to in to the business relating to the financial information? The answer is no. There is only one language you can communicate in, and that is accountancy. That is why it is so important. That is why it is so primary, and that's why you have a profession based on this, which is us, chartered accountancy. So if you want to talk to a big company, a listed company, I want to invest in stock markets. So if I want to invest in stock markets, I want to see which company is doing well, which company is wealthy, which company can get rich, can get me rich, can multiply my money. I want to know this. Now, to know this, I need to know what the company is doing, how much profits they are making, how much assets they have, what are their liabilities. I need to know all this about them. It's known as financial information. Now, if I want to give money to someone, I will look at the credibility of that person, right? Now, if someone comes and asks me, I will look at the credibility of that person. Does he have the capacity to return my money with interest? Probably sometimes. Loan only no. The banker will look at the credibility of the person. If he has credibility, only then if he has the capacity to return. Ahana wapas kodlike with interest, if he has the capacity, only then we will give the money to him. Otherwise, no. Similarly, when we are giving money to the businesses also, I will have to look at the credibility, the capacity of the business, arhate, eligibility of taking that money from us. So to know this, to know the credibility, to know the capacity of the business, we look at the financial information, and that financial information is the end product of account. That is you account. That is why you various things in accounting, because you want the end product, which is known as financial information or financial statements. We call it as financial statements. Now let's discuss the different steps involved in accounting. Step number one is known as recording. Step number one is recording. Guys, let's make this a bit interactive. I hope you studied about this. Where do we record? Where do we record? Can someone tell me? Elli record model. Which book do we record in? Journal. Very good. Recording. First, before even recording, what we do is something called as identification. Very good. Very good. I'm getting a lot of answers. We identify transactions. What we do is we identify transactions. We can't record everything that happens with the business. I'll tell you what to write, Abhishek. We record transactions. What is a transaction now? First, we have to identify a transaction, and then we have to record this transaction. What is a transaction? Transaction is an activity. Transaction is an activity involving money. So that is known as transaction. So if there's an activity which can be quantified in terms of money, we have to record it in the books, and that is known as recording. And the most popular source or most popular original source for recording is journal. But there's one more original books of entry. This is known as original books of entry, guys. It is recorded in the original books of entry. There's one more original books of entry. Can someone tell me what is that another original books of entry? No, not lecture. What is that original books of entry? Journal is original books of entry. There's one more original books of entry. No, no. Very good, Purvi. It is known as subsidiary books. This is also known as original books of entry. Remember this. It's not just the journal, it is also subsidiary books. In fact, journal is followed only by small entities. Sunday business marks, the journal will pass mark to the entries. They will have journal as subsidiary, original books, only small entities. Once the entity size grows, once it becomes big, then they will start having subsidiary books as their original books of entry. Subsidiary book is more comprehensive. Subsidiary book is much better than the journal. I will tell you how, why, and all that. There's an unit in second chapter. We're going to discuss unit number 4 is subsidiary books. So I will tell you over there in detail about subsidiary books and all that. But right now, just understand it's not just the journal which is known as original books of entry. Even subsidiary book is also known as original books of entry. Okay, so we have understood this. So we have entered the transactions in the original books of entries, which is either journal or subsidiary books. What is the next step, sir? Next end after this, sir. Next, we classify. See, this is a process. ಇದು ಯಾಕೆ process follow ಮಾಡುದು? Because you want the end product. We want to end with financial statements, right? End product ಬೇಕು ನಮಗೆ financial statements. Let me write it in caps. So that is why you are going through this process. Now, just like if you want to turn a log of wood, there is a timber, wood untundi matra. You want to turn this into a table, a chair, a cupboard, anything you want to turn it into. Now, in such cases, first you need to cut the timber, then you need to shape the timber in the shape you want. You need to kind of polish the timber. So there's a big process we go to. It's not directly timber becomes a chair, It's not like that. It goes through a process, right? So that process in accounting also, we want this financial statements. That is the whole objective of drawing up accounts. That is the objective of accounting. We need financial information. To go there, you can't directly drive financial statements just like that. You need to follow a certain set of stages, phase-wise. Now, suddenly, financial statements will drop the balance sheet, will drop the profit and loss account. That's not how it happens. We need to go through some stages, stage by stage we go, and at the end we end up with financial statements. So every stage is taking you towards financial statements. Remember, first we record it. Now we're classifying the entries. Where do we classify? Elli classify madudu. What are these books known as? Where do we classify it? Very good, Tanuja. It is known as ledger. It's classified into ledger accounts. So different ledgers we will open, and in this we will put the entries. We call this as posting. Okay, from the journal to the ledgers, what we do is known as posting. So this is step number 2, phase number 2, which is drawing up the ledgers. Then we have the third one. It is known as summarizing. So what do we do over here? Any idea? What do we do over here? Summarizing anta helidre anta. What is summarizing? Summarizing means making a list, a summary of the books of accounts. And summary ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. We will make a summary. Like for example, after all the syllabus is over, you might sit on your own and you might see what and all chapters are there, and you might make a list of all the chapters once, so that you understand which chapter is difficult, which chapter is easy, where you should focus, which is your weakness, which is your strength. You might make a list for this. That is known as a summary of all the chapters. So like this only we prepare a summary of all the ledgers. We prepare a summary of all the ledgers, and that summary is known as, very good Sumukha, it is known as trial balance. It is known as trial balance. So we make the summary in the form of a trial balance. Again, this is something that we have studied in first PUC. So this is trial balance. So what happens next? Summary item. Our trial balance is just like your attendance register. Okay, ನಿಮ್ಮ school ಅಲ್ಲಿ college ಅಲ್ಲಿ attendance register ಇರ್ತಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ, where all of your names would be there alphabetically. So similarly, trial balance is also ditto like a attendance register where names are not, the ledger account names are there. ಮನುಷ್ಯದ ಹೆಸರಲ್ಲ ಲೆಡ್ಜರ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಹೆಸರಿರ್ತದೆ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವೈ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಟ್ರಯಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್. ಈಗ ಈ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಫೈನಲ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. Now comes final accounts. This is the step where we start preparing the financial statements. First, we will analyze. First, we will analyze each and every account in the trial balance. And we will see what is the nature of those accounts. Our accounts is the nature in them. Like for example, is it an asset? Is it a liability? Is it an expense account? Is it an income account? We sit and categorize this. We analyze matter. For example, in my attendance register, let's say they have written marks that you've scored. So they will analyze like who is the person who scored more than 90%, who is the person who scored 80%. Like this, they will categorize. So here also we sit and analyze that, is it a balance sheet item? Is it a profit and loss item? So this analysis is done at this particular stage. Then comes interpretation. So once you analyze and you prepare the final accounts, we prepare the final accounts, the financial statements, which is nothing but the profit and loss account and the balance sheet we prepare. So once that is ready, we have to interpret. And this interpretation, what is the interpretation? Can someone tell me what do we interpret? We are coming to the final stages. Okay, this is financial statements. What we interpret, is through the financial statements. Can you tell me what we interpret? Remember, now I'm going to tell you something very important. We interpret two things: financial performance of the business. Now, see, I have given the money to the business, so I have to interpret the financial performance of the business. And second one is financial position of the business. To interpret this, to know this, what we do is we drop the final accounts, financial statements are prepared, and then finally those financial statements are passed on or communicated, and that is the last step, which is communicating or communication. So these are the different stages in accounting, and finally this we end up with financial information which is communicated to the users of the financial information. Now these three steps are collectively with relation to drawing up the financial or final accounts. It's known as financial statements or final accounts. If you remember, when you were in first PUC or when you were in second PUC, we will talk about the first PUC, sole proprietary accounting. They used to give you a trial balance, right? Question on trial balance ಕೊಡ್ತಿದ್ರು. Then they would have given you some adjustments. Based on that, you were doing these three steps. You're not communicating it to anyone, but you were drawing up the financial statements. Okay, so that is known as drawing up the financial statements. It's basically you were analyzing, you were seeing, oh, is this a balance sheet? Where should this go? Is this a balance sheet item? Will this go to trading account, profit and loss account? Where is this going? You were doing this job. Then you were drawing it up. Then you were saying this is the net profit. That's interpretation. This is the profit of the period. This is the asset total. This is the liability total. These are the assets. So you were doing this. It is an interpretation of different things, different aspects. And then finally, in practical world, interpretation is not enough. You need to communicate it. You need to tell this to the users of accounts. The ones who want to know this information must be informed. So that is what you do at the end. I hope each one of you have followed this. And these three steps, the first three steps is known as bookkeeping. This is known as bookkeeping. This is the basics. This is a normal data entry job. If you know the basics of accounting, you can do this job: recording, classifying, and summarizing. So this is a basic accounting job. Okay, so that is about the stages in accounting or steps in accounting. I'll just put the slides. So accounting process, we start, yes, you write this now. Accounting process starts with recording, then we go to classifying, then summarizing, analyzing, interpreting, and communicating. Now see the class notes, you can write it, whatever you feel is important, you can go on writing over there. Okay, there's no definitive class notes. It's a tool. Tomorrow when you want to remember something, it might help whatever I have said or something. So you can make a note of whatever you feel like making a note of. Have pencil, highlighters, and sticky notes and all that you have with you ready, so that you can write whatever you want to. There is no specific set of notes, but what I tell is you are supposed to write it. Like what is on your screen, that is compulsory. In addition to that, you can write other things also. Okay. Now next, I hope you're done writing. Could you just say yes or no? Are you done writing? All right, great. Now we will go to financial statements. So I told you this is the end product of the whole process known as accountancy. This is the whole. This is the end product. This is what we get at the end. So here, the components of financial statements. We have something called as the balance sheet. We have something called as profit and loss account, and we have something called as disclosures. Now, disclosures is something additional. Okay, this is with modernized accounting approaches. This disclosure also has come into picture, especially because of various rules and regulations. Now, for example, there's something called as Companies Act 2013. This is part of your syllabus. You will study this in law. So, as per Companies Act, this Companies Act is to be followed by each and every company registered in India. Pratiyun company which is registered in India has to follow Companies Act 2013. They also have to prepare their financial statements as per Companies Act 2013. There is a schedule which is attached to this, which is Schedule 3. This you've studied when you're in 12th standard. Vertical format you were doing, no? Wherein you write equities and liabilities, shareholders funds, then under shareholders funds you have share capital, reserves and surplus, non-current liabilities, current liabilities, then assets, non-current assets, current assets, all that you write, right? So that is mentioned under the Companies Act 2013 under Schedule 3. It's mentioned over there. So every company has to make their financial statements like that only, in that format itself. Not just in that format, there are other things that they have to mention. For example, there's something called as cash flow statement. We studied about cash flow statements also, right, in 12th. So they have to drop the cash flow statement. There are other additional disclosures they might have to give. So these are all additional disclosures. For example, you will not understand if I tell it now, but all the related party transactions, that is, with the directors, with the associate companies, with subsidiary companies, whatever transactions they do, that is to be written separately. There are different rules and regulations, what you should show, what you should disclose, and that is the display mark, but you show it in the financial statements. Balance sheet and profit and loss account is compulsory. In addition to that, disclosures might be required by the law. That is additional information. It's more like additional information, more data for interpretation for the users. So these are the components of financial statements. But why do we draw the balance sheet? Balance sheet ಯಾಕೆ draw up ಮಾಡುದು? To determine the financial position. It represents the financial position of the business. And why do we draw up the profit and loss account? To determine the financial performance of the business. And disclosure is as per the legal requirements. It is, I told you, law requires you to do it, so you do it. It is just additional information that we put in the financial statements. Now, financial position means what? What do you mean by financial position? Now, if someone asks you, comes and asks you, let us say, how much property do you have? What is your financial position? Are you rich or are you poor? What do you have with you? What are your assets? What are your liabilities? So when you say financial position, it basically represents where a person is standing. Okay. For example, let's say someone comes and asks me, what is your financial position? How are you doing in life? Financial position is to ಯಾವ level in the financial position? Yes, status. Basically, they're asking for my status. What do I have? So in such cases, I'll say, I have a glass of where I can drink water in this, or I have a mobile phone, or I have say a water bottle. These are all my things which I can use. These are my property. This is my property. I have a laptop. I have an iPad. So like this, I can tell them that these are the things that I own. This is what I have. This is what I have. Then they will ask, don't you have any liabilities? ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಲೋನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದ ಲೋನ್ ಉಂಟಾ ನಿಂದು? No, loan ಇಲ್ಲ, loan ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿಲ್ಲ ನಾನು. I don't like loan. So that is how you explain your financial position. You're standing, financial standing. Where do you stand? So this is represented by the balance sheet in the financial statement. Balance sheet is ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತದೆ. If you want to know any business's financial position, you will look at the balance sheet. Okay, so in the balance sheet, you will see what are its assets, building, land, computers, furniture, plant and machinery. So all this, you look at the balance sheet, cash in hand, cash at bank, investments made by them. So this is all their assets. Then you look at the liability side also. Bank loan unta, overdraft unta, long-term loans, debentures, shares, share capital. So like this, you will look at the different things on the liability side also. So that time you get to know where the business is, what the business is the business financially sound? Is the business financially strong? So if you want to know that business's position or standing of that business, what we do is we look at the financial position of the business, which is nothing but the balance sheet. The balance sheet tells us this. Now, if I want to know the performance is different from position, guys. Performance is someone comes and asks me, hey, in the month of July, how much money did you make? How much money, did you earn? How did you perform financially? So I will say, let us say my income was X amount. My expenses was Y amount. So financially, I have performed this much money I have saved. This is my profits. This is my gain of that particular month. Because I worked so hard in that month, I have earned this much money. Because of the various things that I did during that month, I have earned this much money. This is my net gain from that month. So that is known as financial performance or financial results of a particular person. Now, when you talk about the business also, how has it performed during a particular period? How much was the income of that business? How much was the expenses of that business? Because of all the business transactions that they have done, what is the net profit or net loss of that business? That will be determined through the profit and loss statement. Through the profit and loss statement or profit and loss account, it represents the financial performance of the business. Then finally, disclosures. It doesn't do anything. It's just more information. That's all. I hope you've taken this down. Financial components of financial statements. Okay. So we shall move ahead. Objectives of accounting. Now, why do we need accounting? Next question. First, I told you accounting is where you record everything systematically because you need financial statements, right? So the objectives or what is supposed to be done in accounting is what we're talking about. So we need financial statements. To get the financial statements, you need to know the systematic recording. You need to do the systematic recording of transaction. What do you mean by systematic recording, sir? Record, classify, summarize. There are steps involved in accounting. That is a system. We have a proper system in accounting. We have to follow that. Then the most important part, which is ascertainment of financial position of the business. How do we determine the financial position of the business? Through the balance sheet. Then ascertainment of financial performance of the business. From where do we ascertain the financial performance of the business? Profit and loss account. Then communication of that information to the users. We drop something called as, we call this as financial statements, and this is sent to the users of the accounting information. So these are the different objectives. There are 4 objectives. Number 1, we have to record the transactions systematically, process unto a process and they follow ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Number 2, we have to ascertain the financial position. This is the end result of that process. The financial position you can know and the financial performance you can know, which is known as financial information. This is financial information. This is to be communicated to the users. ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು communicate ಮಾಡಬೇಕು to the users. Okay, so only 4 things, 4 objectives of accounting. Very simple objectives: systematic recording, financial position ascertain, financial performance ascertain ಮಾಡುದು, communication of that financial information to the users. Okay. These are the things that we've already discussed. So detail is nothing else. Have we done writing? Okay, great. Now let's discuss about users of financial information. ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಬೇಕು ಈ information? Who is interested in this? First set of people who are interested in this is the management. So I'm not going to make the categories like you might have studied when you were in first year, external users and internal users. I'll just give you a list of the different persons. You just write the list and I will tell you if it's internal or external. We can discuss it. So first one is the management. Sir, why do the management need the information? You may ask me. To take better decisions. Okay, like for example, I need to know. I'm managing a business. Let's say I am a chartered accountant in practice. Okay, I'm a CA in practice. So I have some clients. I have some clients. I have clients on whom I work. I give different kinds of services to those clients. So audit services, consultancy services, bookkeeping services, so taxation related services, many services I might give. Now let us say I have employed two people in my office to whom I have to pay salaries also. So how does this work, sir, now for you? I will have to know how my practice is going at any point of time. So for this, I need to know what is the expense, what are the incomes of my business, how much is the net profits of my business, how much I can expand tomorrow if I want to put a branch, can I put a branch, do I have that money? So if I want to take decisions like this, for example, even a small shopkeeper, if he wants to know, if he can expand his business, how much money does he have, how much profits he's making by selling these goods, he's selling various types of goods, how much profits is he making while he sells these goods. So if he wants to know all these details, he's the management, right? He's the management, he's the one who's managing the business. Person who manages the business is known as the management. So he's the management, I'm the management. The big companies have something called as board of directors, they are the management. So if they want to know and they want to manage the business better, so they will need some financial numbers, they will need some data, which is provided by accounting. So these are the users of financial statement. These are the first users of financial statement. So are they internal or are they external? Are they within the business or are they outside the business? Obviously, they are inside the business. They are decision makers. They are the ones who take decisions. Like, for example, I told you in the case of practice, I am the internal. I am internal. I'm not some outsider. So the internal parties like management also will need the information. Owners. Now, who are owners? When you talk about a big company, for example, I will tell you. Let us say you have some spare cash with you. You have 1 lakh rupees with you. What you can do is you can go to a place called. Where did I put it? Okay, here. You can go to a place called stock markets. Okay, you can see the different numbers over here, right? This is stock markets. Now, if you want to buy, let's say you say Britannia. During the lockdown, the biscuit companies have made a lot of money. Okay, lot of money. The biscuit companies have made during the lockdown because people don't go out to eat. People don't go to the restaurants to eat. So you can see the share prices also of this. The stock prices of these businesses also have gone up a lot. It hit a low during the month of March 2137 per share. Now it is 3816. So if you want to buy a share in Britannia, you want to become a member of Britannia or you want to become an owner of Britannia company, you can become. All you have to have is 3817 rupees. You can buy one share. You can buy multiple shares, but if you want one share of that company, you have to spend 3817. So this is how the stock markets work. Now, how will you know? See, the prices keep fluctuating. Okay, the prices, because the stock market is open now. 9:15, the stock market's open. Yes, it's been 5 minutes. So the stock market's prices keep fluctuating. So you can see the prices also move up, down, up, down, up, down. It keeps moving up and down based on the demand and supply for these shares. So economics, it is something else. So here, if you want to buy right now, at this moment, you want to buy a share of Britannia, you have to pay 3818.5 rupees. It can change any time. Okay, change 50 paisa cut mein I think. So this today 41 rupees it has gained, by the way. So to become an owner now, before you invest, I invest money into the stock market. Now before I invest, I do my studies. How do I do the studies? I'll tell you. I'll show you something. Wait. Not this. See this. This is an annual report. This is an annual report of a company, which I was just reading the other day. This is known as a company known as Himmat Singh Ka, which is a company into making goods relating to your bath towels and your bed sheets. Basically, house home linen, what we call. So they make all these goods. Clothes, textile business they are into. They're based from Bangalore. So now I was like, okay, let's see what this business is doing. What are their different, you know, profits? How much assets they have? So I wanted to know that. So what I did is I downloaded their annual report. We do this every time we invest in any business. We download their annual report and we read the annual reports of that business. We read their financial statements. What are the different financial statements? What are the different numbers in the financial statements? We read. See, this is all their products. This company, not in India. I mean, in India they don't have so much business, but they have a lot. It's an Indian company, but they export a lot. They are based out of North American market. They have a lot of business, but they make all these products in Bangalore and Hassan or somewhere. They have a couple of factories also. So like this, I wanted to know the company. I wanted to know what the company was doing. So these are different things. These are the financial snapshot. They give different numbers and throw different numbers and tell me. So all investments could be one share, 10 shares, 50 shares, 100 shares. But if a person is owning the company, like say he has a lot of money invested in that company, he might be interested in knowing the financial statements. You can see the consolidated financial highlights. You can see the balance sheet of this company also. Here you go. This is I'll show you the financial statements. Okay, I'm not finding. Okay, this is yes, here you go. So this you can see, you'll not understand a thing out of this, but these are all the parts of financial statements. This is the company's financial statement. A lot of numbers, a lot of things go into this financial statements. So this is the cash flow statement. If you remember, you have done the cash flow statement, cash flows from operating activities, investing activities, financing activities, and all that you've drawn up. This is the profit and loss statement. This is the balance sheet of the entity, non-current assets, current assets, equities and liabilities. All these things they have displayed, of the relating to the company. So this is how the financial statements have been drawn. Now, as a person, I would be interested in these numbers. Okay, I would be interested in these numbers. You see, this is what yesterday they were telling you. Kedar sir was telling you. I'm sure Gopal sir also had told you how important it is for a chartered accountant. See, this is approved by chartered accountants. This is audited by chartered accountants. These numbers are seen by chartered accountants. So you can see there's a firm which audited this, BSR and Co LLP, chartered accountants. So these are the ones who audited it. Tomorrow you can be part of this team. You can be an auditor of this company. So that is how auditing works. Especially this person, see, he is a CA, Supreet Sachdev, partnered, membership number. This is a CA membership number, what is mentioned. Like this only, I also have a membership number. So we can also audit. We also put our membership numbers like this whenever we audit a particular entity. So what I was trying to tell you was owners use the information. Now, if I bought, let's say, 100 shares of this company, every year I will see their financial statements. Every year I will see how much profits they have made. What is their asset? What is their liability? Loan unta ilva? Estu loan untu? Now, for example, companies like ITC. You heard about ITC? Have you heard about ITC? What is ITC? Full form, or what do they do? Tell me product names of ITC. Some product names you know of a company called ITC. Oh, are you there or am I talking to myself? You guys are there. No, are you all following? Are you all comfortable with the language or? Yes. Okay. So ITC is into manufacturing of various items. They are in different sectors. Okay, for example, you have your notebooks. Generally, every 3 students out of 5 will be using classmate notebooks, right? That is the most preferred brand when it comes to take your notebooks. Why, sir? Because their material that they use is really next level. You don't get that kind of pages or kind of quality in any other notebook. So that is why we use classmate. Classmate is a product of ITC. Or for example, you have various FMCG products, fast moving goods, consumer goods. Like for example, you have Ippy noodles. Ippy is from ITC. Ashirwad atta is from ITC. There are many things that they biscuits. Sunfeast is from ITC. So yes, Bingo is from ITC. So there are many things. You have that real beaker juice, which is from ITC. So there are many products of ITC. Many products of ITC like this. Not just here. They are into hotels also. There are ITC hotels. That is another sector that they are into. So they are into multiple things, but their main business is cigarettes, tobacco. In fact, ITC used to mean Indian Tobacco Company. So tobacco is the main business. That's the main revenue generating business. In India, most of the cigarettes, around 70% or something, are sold by ITC. So that is how they run a monopoly in cigarette business. There are various brands, of cigarettes, which I'm not aware of, but there are various brands of ITC cigarettes. So that is the main, avenue of business. Now, this company is a very good company financially. It's a fantastic company, quality-wise. If you tell me, this is one of the top-notch companies in India, financially, one of the safest companies. Sir, how are you able to say this? I'm able to say this because I've read their financial statements. I know their numbers. How, sir? What is so special about their financial statements? Be it ITC, or you've heard about a company called Asian Paints, be it Asian Paints, or there are companies like even Britannia to that extent. Many Infosys, be it TCS. These are all good companies, high quality companies. How are you able to say this, sir? I'm not talking about their products, okay? I'm not talking about their products. I'm talking about their businesses, their business models. These are very good companies. How, sir? One, I told this based on one parameter, which is the most important parameter, which is debt. These companies have so much debt, in fact, almost debt free, even if they have very little. So they are debt free companies, no debt. Debt means what? Loan. So external loan only shareholders money, owners se dhana use mata. Owners give that they use, and they're running their business, and they're running successful business, fantastic businesses. They're the best in what they do. ITC is very good in the tobacco sector. They're the best in the tobacco sector. They're the best in the stationery sector. They're doing quite well in the biscuit sector, FMCG goods also. They're doing quite well in these sectors. And is doing fantastic, the biscuit sector. Or Asian Paints is the market leader by far in the paint sector. So these companies are doing well, and they're able to do this without any loans, without any debts, external debts. So these are high quality companies. Tomorrow, if something happens to these companies, also, let's say their business goes to zero, they can still take some loan because people will give them loan. They are good companies. People they can loan and they can expand their business. They can make better business possible. So that is why we call this as high quality companies, high quality businesses. And how am I able to say this? Because of the financial information that they have given it to us. Whatever financial information, the numbers that they have given, I showed you that Himmat Singh ka, company's financial information, the statements. So based on that, I can make interpretation about the company. I can say, oh, okay, is this a good business, high quality, low quality? what is the potential of the business, we can judge that company setting over here. So that is possible because of financial information, which is very important. I hope you got that point. We are the owners. Let's say we own some business. That was a bigger example I gave you. Smaller businesses, also small business which you own. In such cases, also financial information is key, which is important. Next, employees. Employees are the next set of users of financial information. Employees are how can an employee use the financial information? Especially when it comes to top management. We're not talking about any employee. Any employee also can use the information, but specifically in the top management, the managing director of the company and the directors of the company, their salaries and all are generally fixed based on the profits the business makes. If you're giving good business to the business, if you are helping the business grow, if you're earning more money, if you're able to ensure that the business is performing really well, you will also perform very well. Business in the way will also give you remuneration. Generally, their salaries and all are fixed as a percentage of the total profits or total sales. It can depend on various agreements, but it has a direct link. The top management salary generally. Top management salary direct link irtade. There will be a direct link to the financial performance of the business. So that is why the employees, for their own salaries and all, they might use this. Now, as a business grows, remember this, as a business grows, the employees also have to grow. As the business's turnover grows, the employee's salary also has to grow. They will obviously expect this, right? They will expect this because they also have to get richer. They are working so hard for the company. The company is becoming richer. The owners are becoming richer. The employees, the ones who are working so hard, also must become richer. So that is why the employees also use the financial information. Then you have lenders and banks. I told you, a while ago, if a company like ITC goes to the bank and asks for a loan, the bank manager will close his eyes and give the money. Why, sir? Because they are a good company. Their financial statements are very good. So they are doing quite well. They have them posting good profits. They are financially well poised. The results are good. Over a period, they're making profits. Although the cigarette sector is hit so hard by taxes and all that, still ITC is doing well. Asian Paints, over the years, since 30, 40 years, Asian Paints have become the leaders, market leaders in the paint sector over time. So if Asian Paints is going and asking for some money from the banker will give it because financial statements, you get to know that, oh, okay, this person is good. He has the capacity to return the money. What is important for the banker? He needs surety, or he needs that comforting factor. I should not take headache. If I give this person the money, he should return that money on time. He must give it with interest, EMI payments and all, it might be there. So he must pay it on time. I'm not worried that time. So to ensure this comfort, what the banker or the bank managers do is they look at the financial information, the financial statements of the business. So if I am happy with the financial statements, if I say, okay, this company is doing well, and I will close my eyes and give the money to them. Because I kind of have this comfort. Now, okay, it's a good company. We have lent money to Asian Paints. We have lent money big company like ITC or something. They are going to give money. They're big company. They make money. They make profits. They will return our money without any issue. Good management. So like this, we get to know by looking at the financial statements, the bankers or the lenders in general decide if to give the money to the company or not. So these are also the users of financial statement. And then comes the customer. Now customers, sir, now really the financial statement nodi ಯಾವ goods ಅನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಖರೀದಿ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ. Sir, I wanted to buy a table lamp. One table lamp purchase ಮಾಡಬೇಕಿತ್ತು. This is made by Wipro. Now, which sane person, which normal person will go and read the financial statement of Wipro and then buy a table lamp? Or let's say I want to buy a packet of Maggi. Will I go and read the financial statements of Nestle and then decide if I have to buy Maggi or not? The answer is no. We don't do that, sir. You don't bluff. We don't do that. We never do that. We've never done that. But there are customers who do this. I'll tell you. It's not about these small products. We're not talking about these small products. For example, have you, okay, let's take this example. Before giving a construction project license by the government gives licenses relating to construction, right? For example, a flyover, to build a flyover. So to build this flyover, we have called up a tender. ಈಗ flyover ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ it will need hundreds of crores probably. Sometimes it might go into, let's say we need 150 crores to make a flyover. Let us just take an example, 150 crores. This is a lot of money, hell lot of money, right? 150 crores. ಇವತ್ತು ನಮಗೆ 150 crores ಕೊಟ್ರೆ we will take, sir, ನಾವು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಬಿಡಿ ಎಂತ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, we will retire. 150 crores, this is a lot of money. So the government needs a company to come and construct this flyover. So they will call for something called as tenders. These are private companies generally. Now here the government is the customer and these persons are the suppliers of construction service. They are constructing, so we call them as supplier of construction service or construct martar. So the government is the supplier. Now the money involved is huge. It shouldn't become, the construction of the flyover must end on time. It can't take 20 years, 15 years, 10 years time to finish a flyover, right? You know what happens when it takes 10 years, 15 years. We've heard news and all. So we don't want it to lag for such a long time. So that is why what I will do is, I'll first look at the company's financial statements. The government will look at the company's financial statements. Does the company have so much capacity to spend 150 crores on this project? I have to understand. Just, let's say I'm interested in building a flyover. I go to the government and I say I will build the flyover. The government will say, please submit your financial statements. We have to see, do you have those assets to construct the flyover? You need to have those assets. You need to have a JCB, or you need to have that, tilling machines and all that. You need to have that machine and plant equipment. You need to have. We'll see if you have it. We will see what is your reputation in this business. So only then you will be given a license, or you will be allowed to, we will be giving you a contract. Otherwise, we will not give you a contract. So like this, the government will use the financial statements of this company, this construction company, to decide if it has to give this project to that company or not. So here the government is the customer. The government is the customer of the company. So the customer is deciding if to choose that supplier or not. So like this, customers also can look at the suppliers' financial statements, financial information. Not just here, other places also. Like for example, let's say Reliance wants some raw materials. Reliance starts a factory in, let's say, Mangalore. Reliance is going to produce certain products in Mangalore. So they want raw materials. They are procuring the raw materials locally. Local vendors in that. Now Reliance is all over India. In fact, all over the world also. They're all over the globe also. So now Reliance wants to know if this vendor or this local supplier is actually good, because one-time purchase are like, this is continuous purchase of these items. So do they have the capacity, do they have the credibility to supply these goods continuously for years and years and years together? Reliance Industries Limited will want that assurance. They will want that kind of guarantee that, okay, this supplier is good. He can supply these goods continuously whenever we need it. He can supply it. He has the logistics, the transportation facility. He has the people to do it. He has the machinery to process whatever is required. So like this, Reliance Industries might look at the credibility of the supplier. So Reliance is the customer of those suppliers in this case, right? Raw material purchase ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ Reliance. So again, in such cases, they will use the financial statements. Then you have the government. Now, why government, sir? Any idea why government? Why will the government look at your financial information? ಯಾಕೆ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಬೇಕು? ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್ ಯೋಗೇಶ್, ವಿಶಾಲ್, ಹರ್ಷಲತಾ, ಖುಷಿ, ವಂಡರ್ಫುಲ್. Franson, Kavan, Amrita, Salam, wonderful. Aditya. So it is for taxes. The most important part is taxes. Okay. So for collecting taxes from the businesses, they will ask for your financial information. Taxes is collected. There are two types of taxes. Can you tell me what are the two types of taxes? You study this in economics, I think. There are two types of taxes: direct tax and indirect tax. Direct tax is nothing but what you call as income tax. In India, we have only one direct tax, which is income tax. Then you have indirect tax, like for yes, GST is an indirect tax. Customs anta untu indirect tax. Munche sales tax, VAT anta ittu indirect tax. So like this, you service tax anta ittu. All this is indirect taxes. So each tax collection sariyagi ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಮುಂಚೆ, yes, excise duty was there, very good Nikhilesh, which is an indirect tax. So each tax collection ಸರಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಉಂಟಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ ಅಂತ ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ they will look at the financial statements. For example, income tax is collected. Now the average rate is 25%. Okay, it can change, but 25%. What is value added tax? It's sales tax basically. It was there before, now it's not there. Now, 25% of what? 25% of your net profit. This is known as corporate tax, company tax. So they collect around 25%. As of today, the rate is 25%. Generally, it can change based on your net profits. It can be more if the profits are more. It can be lesser a bit in the case of certain companies. You will study all this in intermediate level. So 25% of net profit anta ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಈಗ net profit ಎಷ್ಟು ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತದೆ ನನಗೆ? Where will I know what is the net profit? From the financial statements, the profit and loss account. We have to drop the profit and loss account, calculate what is the net profit, and on that 25% is the tax amount. So government also uses your financial statements this way, because for calculation of taxes, they will have to look at the financial statements. For the net profit calculation, the financial statements are important. Okay, I hope you have written this down. These were some of the users. There could be more than this also. I've just listed some of the users. Investors, owners and investors are a little different, or potential investors, I mean. Before I invest, I told you I use the financial information. I'm not an owner of the company yet, but before investing, I will look at the financial information of the company. I showed that Himmat Singh ka, right? That I showed because probably I was interested to invest in that company. So I just wanted to read about that company. So that is why I was drawing up like that. We see financial information of many companies. You can also just have knowledge about all this. It can be very helpful. There's an app called Money Control. Download it on your phones today itself. And here you will find different companies, different entities over here. You can see Hero Motocorp is there. So the stock prices, the financials. Now I'm going to click on the financials. So they here you find the income statement, the balance sheet. Income statement is nothing but profit and loss account. So they have just given the summary, the summarized financial statements. No, you just write whatever I'm telling you here. You can refer the textbook for details. Okay, I'm not giving you full paragraphs and all that. Not expected. It's just you will not get a full question from all this. Okay, so here income statement. Now see this income statement. This was income statement. This balance sheet. So I can look at the balance sheet to see share capital, reserves and surplus, current liability. You know all this, right? So all this information is there. I can look at this March 2020, March 29. That's 2 years that they have given the financial numbers. Then you have cash flow statement. Cash flow statement also you've done. This is just a summary. This is very small cash flow statement, as you can see. Operating activities. Okay, the screen is. Okay, I am sorry, guys. There was a small disruption, right? I'm sorry for that. I hope I'm visible and audible. The screen is also visible, I guess. Now, yes or no? All clear, all set. Yes. Okay, ensure your videos are off, guys. Yes. So I was telling you about this. Before I invest in any company now, if I'm interested in Hero MotoCorp, I will look at their, different things like cash flow statements you've done, no, last year. So look at this: operating activities, investing activities, financing activities. So like this, when we look at these numbers and look at the investing activities, they are actually making a loss in investing activities. Last year, 2019, they were doing quite well, and then it got reduced. It is in crores. It's all in crores. So like this, you can look at the different numbers. You can compare. You can compare the numbers of. This is Hero MotoCorp. Now their competitors, Bajaj Auto, Hero MotoCorp, is given here. Scooters India, TVS Motors, Atul Auto. So I can look at their numbers. I can compare it, and based on that, we can actually decide if I have to invest in the company or not. So that is a potential investor could use the information for all these things also. So a potential investor is also an user of financial statements. I'm not given it over here. So like this, some things which I've not mentioned. That's okay. This much is sufficient. All right. So next one, subfields of accounting. Put the heading, subfields of accounting. Okay. Now, what is subfields of accounting? These are different subjects or fields of accounting which have derived over time. Okay. The traditional field of accounting is the one we are going to study in this level, which is financial accounting. But there are other kind of subjects also which have derived out of accounting. The inspiration is taken from accounting for these fields. What are the examples, sir? The first one, of course, is financial accounting, as I mentioned to you. Financial accounting is nothing but what we do in numbers. That is known as financial accounting. Okay, so that is number one. That's basic accounting, where we drop the financial statements, where the balance sheet is drawn, the financial position through the balance sheet is determined, financial performance through the profit and loss account is determined. So all that is done through the financial accounting. In addition to this, this is a little more modern, which is known as cost accounting. Now, what do we do in cost accounting? Let us say, I want to manufacture this. You can see your look at the face cam. Here, I have something like a, what do you call this? A container. Okay, a container. So now there is a manufacturer of this container. He wants to know different expenses that is incurred to make that container. What is the total cost? He might be making thousands of containers every year, thousands or probably lakhs of containers every year. So he wants to know per container how much is the cost. So what he will do is he will have specific records relating to the cost to make that container. In the case of manufacturing sector, this works. Okay, because they have series of expenses. You start with the raw material, then you might have to sort out the raw material. Like for example, in the cashew industry, you will have sorting out the raw material, that is A grade raw material, A grade cashew nuts, or like this they will sort it out. So you will have to do a lot of sorting work, and labor is involved in this. Then you process it, you put it in the machines, and you process that raw material. Then once it is processed, there might be second phase of processing. So there must multiple levels will be there in manufacturing. Then you might have to pack the goods. Packing of the goods, there is two types of packing, probably primary packing, where you put in that, if you've seen chocolates, there are two types of packing in the case of chocolates. One is the primary packing, that silver foil you see, right? That is silver or golden foil you see, that is primary packing. Then you put it in the another pouch or in another packet, plastic packet. So that is secondary packing. So many types of expenses. Think about the chocolates itself. Think about the chocolates itself. So many expenses, so many processes, so many things happen in manufacturing a chocolate. You start with cocoa beans, and that is used, that is processed. Add sugar is required. Milk is probably required in the case of milk chocolates. So you add all this. Then if you're adding dry fruits, you need dry fruits to it. So this is all the raw material, different types of raw materials we are using. Then we process it. Let's say first is just grinding those cocoa and making it powdered. The powder of the cocoa is made. Then you put it in a machine where it gets converted, it gets mixed with other ingredients, and it becomes a chocolate bar or something. Then you take it to the next process where you actually give the shape to it. You emboss your logo, like if you have seen Cadbury's chocolates, they have their logo on each of those bars, right? So you emboss your logo on those bars. So like this multiple, then once it's ready, you might have to freeze it or get it to the right temperature. Then you pack it, primary packing, secondary packing, then finally comes sales. So till it's ready as finished goods, it has gone through multiple processes. At each of these processes, we have incurred cost. We have incurred cost. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು cost ಉಂಟು. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು comes at expense. Some expense, some cost. Now, as a management decision maker, if you just give me the normal accounting financial statements, for example, balance sheet मध्ये profit and loss account ಕೊಟ್ಟರು ನಂಗೆ, it's of no much use for me to know the cost relating to each process. ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಪರ್ಚೇಸಸ್ ಅಂತ ಉಂಟು, ರಾ ಮಟೀರಿಯಲ್, ಓಕೆ, ಲೇಬರ್ ಅಂತ ಉಂಟು, ಓಕೆ, ಲೇಬರ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಯ್ತು, ಬಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಯ್ತು ಆ ಲೇಬರ್? ಅಟ್ ವಾಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ಡಿಡ್ ಐ ಯೂಸ್ ದಟ್ ಲೇಬರ್? ಪ್ಯಾಕಿಂಗ್ಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಲೇಬರ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ, ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸಿಂಗಿಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಲೇಬರ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ, ರಾ ಮಟೀರಿಯಲ್ ಇಫ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಸಾರ್ಟ್, ಗ್ರೇಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದಟ್ ರಾ ಮಟೀರಿಯಲ್ ಐ ಟೋಲ್ಡ್ ಯು, ಅದಿದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಲೇಬರ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ. All this detailing, little micro things, I will not be able to determine through the normal financial statements. Adral details illa namge. Adral overall picture siktade. You will get an overall picture. You will get to know what is the financial performance of the business. You will know what is the financial position of the business. But detailing micro pictures, micro details which I want to take better decisions, to make a better decision, to reduce cost. ಈಗ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. If you give me micro level details, I can ensure that the cost can be reduced. Like for example, raw material ಅಲ್ಲಿ multiple types of raw material you have. So you are purchasing, dry fruits from a person. Now, if you tell me how much you're paying for dry fruits specifically, I can compare it with other market players, and I can see if I can get dry fruits at a cheaper price. ಬೇರೆ ಸಪ್ಲೈಯರಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಡ್ರೈ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ಸ್ ಚೀಪರ್ ಪ್ರೈಸಿಗೆ ಸಿಗ್ತದ ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು. Or for example, cocoa beans ನೀವು purchase ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ from some farmers. You're purchasing some cocoa beans. If you tell me what is the cost of that cocoa bean, specifically how much you bought and how much price you paid, we can actually see if there's someone who can supply it at a cheaper price. So this is possible only if you give me these micro details. If you directly tell me purchases, in trading account we write purchases. Here we don't make a differentiation what purchases it is. Directly you say purchases to me. I can't take decisions. I can't reduce cost. I can't promise you that we can reduce cost looking at this, because that purchases will include various things. It will include packing material, foil include ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ, dry fruits cost ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ include ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ, cocoa beans ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ include ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ. So looking at the purchases, overall purchases during the year is, let's say 100 crore rupees. Now ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಯಾವ ಹಣ ಇದು, for what you use that, ಎಂತ purchase ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಡೀಟೇಲ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡುವುದಿಲ್ಲ accounting ಅಲ್ಲಿ. So that is not of much use, especially for the management. Management, they are looking at increasing the profits, what we call as margins. Profit margins are increase ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. So when they are increasing it, you can increase it by either increasing the selling price of the product, or you can increase your profit margin by reducing your cost also. Remember, cost kadme adre profits ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ. So for this, what another field came is known as cost accounting. And cost accounting and the wonderful subject it is. You studied at inter level. Idella nu kalitiri. Whatever I just explained, I mean, not in so much. You studied a little differently. I gave you the practical use. You will study the theoretical aspect, but you will study this costing as a subject. It's a subject, but whatever details we use in this cost accounting is derived from accounting itself. ನಮ್ಮ ಅಕೌಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಇಂದಾನೆ ನಂಬರ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದು, ನಮ್ಮ ಲೆಜರ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇಂದಾನೆ ನಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ. Whenever you purchase dry fruits, you will record it in the journal. So relating to dry fruits, you will write that. So ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದಾನೆ ನಂಬರ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದು. We take numbers from that itself, from the normal accounting itself, and we prepare something called as cost records. So cost records is prepared. It is based out of numbers available in cost accounts itself, the normal accounting. And we prepare the cost records. We prepare something called as cost sheets, okay, to determine all of this. So that is what we study in cost accounting. I'm just giving you, this is for exams. Sir, do we have to know so much? The answer is no. For exams, I'll tell you from this chapter, this 7 units put together. I will just tell you now only 7 units put together. I will give you a handout, okay, at the end of around 20 questions. So you study that much and go to the exams, that's sufficient. One question will come out of that 20 questions for 4 or 5 marks. That's more than sufficient. You don't have to study anything more than that. Now, all this time discussing with you because you need to know what is this. So I'm just giving you details about it. At the end, I'll give you a handout. I always do that. And one question will come from those 20 questions itself. That one thing I can tell you certainly. In CA, you can't predict too many things, but there's very little scope for prediction in CA. But this one thing I can predict with a lot of certainty, and I can tell you, study those 20 questions and go to the exams. One of those questions will definitely come. That's the level of confidence I have, because it's come every time, and then nothing more than that. That 20 questions covers everything. Then you have something called as management accounting. Now, management accounting, as I mentioned, management uses the accounting information, and in this, they might not want all the information. To take a decision, the management will not want all the information. They will need specific information sometimes. Have you heard of this term called MIS? Have you heard of this term called MIS? Ensure your videos are off. Anyone who can tell me what is MIS? Very good. I hope you Googled it, right? Or have you studied about MIS before? Have you studied about MIS? Have you heard this term somewhere? Or did you just Google it? Okay, you studied this in first PUC. You heard about it in first PUC. Okay, MIS means Management Information System. Now, what happens in this MIS is this is a very customized system. Okay, whatever the management wants, some of the data what the management wants is supplied through this information system. For example, now let us say someone like Mukesh Ambani sitting in Mumbai, he will not want to know small details like what goods were sold in Udupi today at the Reliance store. There is a Reliance store, right? What is it called? Reliance Fresh, and there's one more Reliance store, the supermarket. He will not want detailing about how much was sold in that particular store of Reliance in Udupi. That's not relevant for him, right? What is relevant for him? At the end of the day, probably he will look at how much did we earn through Reliance Footwear today, or how much did we earn all over India, pan India, not just Udupi or Mangalore. How much did we earn through Reliance Supermarket today, the supermarkets today? How much did we earn through Reliance, Fresh, the vegetables, grocery stores and all that? So how much we've earned through that? So like this, you will need specific information. So for that, we have a system called as Management Information System. This Management Information System is drafted in a way that whatever information is relevant to that management, to the top management, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿದ್ದಾಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ information system ಅನ್ನು. The way they want it, they will draft this. They will design it. And then whatever information is required to them is only supplied. That is because they don't have enough time to look at all the things in set. You can't take decisions like that. Oh, Udupi is to say like Mangalore is to say like. All that detail is unnecessary. Just give me the total. We call it as consolidated. Give me the total of all over India, South India if I want, North India if I want. So like this, whatever I am interested in, give me that information. That is supplied by this system. So again, MIS is prepared on the basis of accounting itself, but only relevant information is prepared. That is known as management accounting. So only relevant information relevant to the management is supplied through this MIS or management accounting systems. Okay, the next one is human resource accounting. Now we see more and more before, few years back, probably 50, 60, 70 years back, if you were talking about a business, we would always think about, uh, say something like manufacturing, trading, manufacturing of goods, trading of those goods. These were the businesses out there. But today it's not like that. There's something called as a service sector, which has seen a massive rise in the previous few years, probably 25 years, 30 years, last 25 to 30 years. Service sector in India specifically has boomed. Be it information systems like, you have Infosys, which is into service sector, customer care services, be it all these consultancy services, what do you call as outsourcing, business process outsourcing, BPO services. This is all services. This is all services. So this has seen a boom. This has seen a rise in previous few years. Specifically in India, you have these software companies and all doing really well, computer-based companies which have done very well in the last few years. Not just that, Education sector, it changed. रूपरेशे बदला इतु. It changed the way the education system works, the sector works has changed over the last 20 years, 25 years, or 30 years. Before it used to be completely, what do you say, social service types. Okay, hospital services also same thing. It used to be completely charitable types. Now it's not. It's commercial. Everything is commercial now. So as the services raised, I mean the service sector started playing a big role. What has happened is now service sector. How do you take services? Let's say a CA in practice. Let's say I have a firm. I have a firm with a partnership firm with five partners. Okay, we have five partners. Let's just take for example five partners. Now these five partners handle different clients. So in this case, whatever profits we derive or whatever business we derive, we can make these partners responsible. We can say, boss, this year you have bought this much business to the particular firm. Or in the case of call centers, simple example I'll give you. In the case of call centers, every day these guys pick the calls. So I can say you have spoken this much to these many customers today. These many customer care issues you have taken up. So this is all relating to humans. Service sector is run by humans. Remember, be it teaching or be it consultancy, be it call center, be it anything else. It's all run by humans. So you can hold these humans responsible and you can allocate, okay, this much sales you have got this period. Because of you, we are earning this much this year. So you can specifically tell that this person was responsible for this. That is known as human resource accounting, where you allocate whatever numbers you have relating to sales, expenses, anything it could be, to people. Human resource means people, to persons, to human beings. You allocate that information, that accounting information to those humans. That is known as human resource accounting. So that is done under this particular subfield, which is again very popular in service sector. It's not useful in manufacturing because their humans are very less. I mean, human intervention is very less. So, but in the case of service sector, human resource accounting is very important and very key. Then you have something called as social responsibility accounting. This is one more modern type of accounting derivation, where what has happened is now with time, these companies have realized that just taking is not enough, giving is also very important, especially in a country like India where the government resources are not enough to develop the country or to take care of the country. The government resources, the government money is not enough. There are still so many people who go without any food every day, don't have proper food, especially in times like this pandemic, in times of this coronavirus and all. You've seen so many people suffering because of this. No employment, no jobs, no source of revenue. This is a struggle. So the government also can help to some extent, but they don't have so much capacity to ensure that everyone gets food on time or something. They don't have that capacity. So that is why you see a lot of companies coming forward, private companies coming forward and saying that, okay, we have a responsibility towards the society because we made money out of these guys. Any big business, they make money because of us. So now it's time to pay back. This is the time to give something back to them. That is known as social responsibility. We call it as corporate social responsibility in the case of companies. CSR, corporate social responsibility. So, like for example, you saw so many companies, Infosys early, Tata Foundation, Azim Premji, through Wipro. So many companies you saw coming forward and donating money to the public. In some form, it could be food items, it could be shelter arrangements, it could be hospitals. One beautiful hospital was built by Infosys Foundation. So all this is commercial businesses coming forward and doing social responsibility. They will have separate records for this. As per the Companies Act 2013, every company in India must spend at least 2% of their total profits, 2% of their total profits on social responsibility. It's compulsory as per the law. They have to do some charity work, 2% of their total profits. So they will maintain separate records for this. how much money I've spent on what, where did this money go to, what purpose did we spend this money. For example, anyone from Mangalore over here? Guys from Mangalore, anyone from Mangalore? Say hi, hello. If you're from Mangalore, if you're from Mangalore, just say hi, hello. Okay. So in Bangalore, there's an area called I think Lady Hill, right? The swimming pool, Mangala Stadium swimming pool. Have you heard that place? Uh, somewhere near Mannagutta. Yes. So there is one library over there. Have you seen one library over there? Just next to the swimming pool, to the left of the swimming pool, there's a library over there. What is that library called? Anyone? Anyone knows what that library is called? There's one library right near the swimming pool. Very good, Payal. Corporation Bank Library. Okay, it's known as Corporation Bank Library or Corporation Library as we call it. It is next to that swimming pool. See that? It's a beautiful library. It's a really nice library. You know, I've gone there a couple of times, but not so many times. But my friends used to go there often. Annual subscription is around 300 or 400 rupees. That's all. Annually, you have to pay just 300, 400 rupees for that library. And you get facilities like it's centrally air conditioned, central AC. You have Wi-Fi facility over there, limited Wi-Fi facility because you can't access everything, but you can access Wikipedia pages, and limited Wi-Fi facility is also there, free, and books are there. There are nice, comfortable chairs, couch, sofa types. They're comfortable thing, and it's open almost the whole day, 10 o'clock to 7 o'clock or something. It's open. AC, I told you, it is, you get books over there, you have comfortable seating, you have Wi-Fi facility. It's quite big, and they're charging you only 300 rupees per year. How do you think it's possible? Obviously, they're not making money out of this. This 300 rupees is not even enough to pay their probably internet bills. Newspapers you get every day, all kind of newspapers, magazines, and all are available over there. That's not even available. This money, what you pay, is not even enough to fund those, newspapers and magazines. But they have been running that library for years. How is that possible? That's because of Corporation Bank. That's why we call it as Corporation Bank Library. You can see a big Corporation Bank funds it. Okay, Corporation Bank gives money to that library every month. They donate money to that library. They run that library. Only salary. There's a watchman sitting over there. There's a librarian sitting over there. There are sweepers. There are cleaners. So everything is looked after by the Corporation Bank. Corporation Bank said we started in Mangalore. Their head office is in Mangalore itself even now. So they started in Mangalore. Their first branch was in Mangalore. They became a big bank. Started from Mangalore. The Mangalore people gave them that love initially, right? 100 years back. So they said, because of Mangalore, we become so big. Because of Mangalore, we are one of the biggest banks in the country. It's because of Mangalore. So we have to give something back to Mangalore. We are going to open the library. Or you see Nehru Maidan in Mangalore. Again, that's maintained by Corporation Bank. You see Corporation Bank boards all over it. So they maintain it. They look after the cleaning, different things relating to that Nehru Maidan near State Bank. That's looked after by Corporation Bank again. So they spend a lot of money on maintaining all these things. Why? Because they're saying this is our service to the society. They have done so much to us. We are what we are because of these people. So that is why they're giving it back. So like there's many companies. You can see many companies doing this kind of thing. It's not just limited to Corporation Bank or any other entity. Many entities, big entities do this. They have their own social service wings and all that. So for that, they specifically have accounting records, what we call as social responsibility accounting. I hope you guys are following this. Are you all with me? Okay. Did you follow all these 5 categories? Yes. So that is about subfields. I hope you have taken it down. Next, functions of accounting information. Okay, functions of accounting information, that means what does this information do, how can we use this information, this is what it means. Functions of accounting information. First one, measurement. Sir, what measurement, sir? What can you measure using the information? You can measure a company, boss. You can say if the company is good or not. You can talk about the company in terms of numbers. You can, I told you, I showed you that money control app, right? In this money control app, we are able to get these numbers. We are able to measure the company in these different categories because of the numbers we have, because of the accounting information that is available. For example, take Bata India. So in the case of Bata India, now their financial numbers I can see, and I can say, oh, sales 620 crores. It has come down from 830 crores to 620 crores. In 2019, it was 630 crores. This is quarter end results. For that 3 months, that is quarter in one quarter is December to this quarterly results, what they're mentioning over here. So, first 3 months, December 2019, Danka, that is from October, November, and December, they made 830 crores. In the month of, you know, in the month of say January, February, and March, they made 620 crores. You'll say there's a dip in the numbers. Yes, that's right. But you know the reason why this happened, right? Why is this happened? Why this happened? 830 crores in the 620 crores yaake kadme aaye during the quarter. 3 months. This is relating to 3 months. First 3 months. That is October, November, and December, 3 months. This is relating to another 3 months, that is January, February, and March. This first 3 months, I mean, from October to December, it was 830 crores. Then it came down to 620 crores. Now you are able to. Why did this happen? Can you tell me? Can you logically think? ये dip याके आए तो? Less sales आगे there, but there's a logical reasoning for this, which you won't get to know by looking at this. But why did this dip happen? Any idea why did this dip happen? याके to sales also? Is it because of low quality of chappals that they were selling? Bata India is selling chappals, right? Chappal, sandals, and all that. Is it because of low quality, or is it because of something else? It's because of the coronavirus. Yes, the pandemic. Because in the month of March, there was a lockdown. There was a complete lockdown for around 10-15 days in the month of March. People would not go out. Even if that, people were careful because of the corona. So people would not go out and buy slippers, chappals, nothing. Have you bought a chappal last 4 months? No. So that's why their sales went down. Economic downfall, correct, because of some external reason. But see these numbers, you measure their sales, you measure a company based on this, based on the data. Be it balance sheet, you have the share capital, you have the reserves and surplus. Look at the liabilities they have, current liabilities, other liabilities. You can look at these numbers and you can measure the company. In terms of numbers, we can talk. You can measure it in terms of number. Now, if someone is saying, oh, Bata is a good company, how good, you will ask. That is today, Nicholas. How good, you will ask. So when I tell you in terms of numbers, you will be like, "Ha, sir, this makes sense." Okay, this is good numbers. Like numbers can be used to basically explain a company in a better way. You can talk about a company in a lot more effective way when you measure that company based on numbers. Stock prices are not relating to what is happening to that company. It's about what is going to happen to that company. In stock markets, we look at what potential we have to the company. Now it might not be doing so well, but I'm not concerned of what is happening today. I'm concerned about the future, because tomorrow I'm going to sell the company share. I want to make money by buying and selling, right? You would purchase market at low price. If it's available, I'll purchase it today. I wait for say 6 months. After 6 months, I will sell the share, because that time everything will be normal. So and the price is based on demand and supply. So the stock markets don't give you a real picture of what is happening with the company. It's just the sentiments, market sentiments at the health. That's something else. We will have a session on that someday. Forecasting. Forecasting means future ಎಂತ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ forecast ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. That's what I told you. Looking at the fundamentals of the company, you can say fundamentals means the balance sheet, the financial statements of the company. You can kind of forecast, you can kind of predict what is happening with the company. I told you ITC is a very good company, high quality company. ಎಂತ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ ಆ ಕಂಪನಿಗೆ. For the next few years ಎಂತ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ. I can tell you with some level of not just that company, many companies are like this. Britannia, nothing will happen for some years, few years. These companies are good companies, high quality companies. How am I able to forecast this? How am I able to predict this? Sir, enta sir, you astrologer sir. How are you saying that adike enta dosha illa? How are you able to say this? I'm telling you, a company enta dosha illa mara. A company ಒಳ್ಳೆದು ಉಂಟು. Good companies these are. How are you able to say this, sir? Astrology ಕಲ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ? No, I have studied accounting, studied accountancy. I've studied about the company, how to read a financial statements, how to read a financial information. I've studied that. Adu kaltidene ನಾನು. ಅದರ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ನಂಬರ್ಸ್ ನೋಡಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ if the business is doing well or not doing well. And futurally, ಎಷ್ಟು ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಉಂಟು ಈ ಕಂಪನಿಗೆ? How long is this company going to sustain? Are they going to be closed in the short term, or are they going to continue for some time? By looking at the numbers, I can forecast. Astrology, this is not astrology. This is scientific, logical reasoning. This is common sense in accounting or in the share markets or in financial management. This is a subject called financial management. It is basic, understanding or common sense aspect. It is not some technical. You don't have to study about stars and the fate of the company and all that. You just have to look at the numbers. You can forecast. You can say what might happen in the future to that company also. So you can take decisions based on this accounting information. I told you so many decisions you can take. Be it the management, be it an investor, be it a owner of the company. You can all take decisions based on the financial information. Decision making ಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ use ಆಗ್ತದೆ. Comparison and evaluation. I told you if I want to compare two companies, I just showed you that, right? If I want to compare two companies, like for example, now peer comparison ಮಾಡುವ, when it comes to Bata. So like this, I can take their information, I can take different numbers and I can compare Bata India ಇರ್ಲಿ, Khadim India ಇರ್ಲಿ. These are all in the same sector. ಒಂದೇ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸ್ಯಾಂಡಲ್ಸ್, ಚಪ್ಪಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. Mayur leather, Liberty shoes, Relaxo footwear. So I can compare their numbers and I can say which company is good, which company is not good. So based on this, I can compare. Based on the numbers, I can compare and I can say, which company is good and all that. So for example, if I'm taking this HDFC, here also again, I can compare these companies' financials. This is financials of the company. Pure. So there are so many peers are there. I can actually compare their performances with different companies. So that is possible again because of accounting information. Comparison and evaluation. I can evaluate the company's performance. Oh, anything iಷ್ಟು profits ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Let's say Britannia. I want to say Britannia has made this much profits during this year. Parle has made this much profits during the year. ITC through its biscuit sector has made this much profits during the year. So I can compare all these companies in biscuit sectors or any sector for that matter, and I can get a better idea. Government regulation and taxation. I told you about this. Government uses the information for calculation of taxes and making different rules and regulations relating to a particular sector. For example, now some of the companies are very reliant on Chinese products, Chinese raw materials. For example, pharmacy sector. Pharmacy sector is highly dependent on this Chinese products, or electronic sector, highly dependent on Chinese companies. So the government can look at different data which is provided in financial information and take decisions relating to whatever rules and regulations that they make. So again, we can use the financial information for this also. So these are the different functions of accounting information. All right, are we done? Are we done writing? Okay, I'll stop for here today. We'll continue our discussion tomorrow. Not a continue Madhva now. I hope you have understood whatever was taught today. Just have a look as to whatever discussions we had today. Theory aspect completely not so important from exam point of view. I'll stop the session over here. Thank you guys for your patient listening and have a nice day. Bye 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 bye. Okay, Aditya, guys, just if you have any questions, 20 questions I'll give at the end, not now, Rahman. This is my personal contact number. You can get in touch with me if you have any questions, doubts, and all that. I'll put it out tomorrow also because some of them left already. So this is my phone number. 7204 744 074. If you have any questions, doubts, and all, you can message. All right. So I will end the session here. Thank you. Have a good day, guys. Bye. See you tomorrow.